Twahira Khan. I was born and raised in Guyana. I moved to New York City, to the Bronx, in 1996. I live in the Kingsbridge, Riverdale area of the Bronx with, a 2-year gap in Miami. I've been in the Bronx pretty much since I came here in 1996. And I have to say, as a Guyanese, as you know, most Guyanese are in Richmond Hill, Queens. And I love it there because it's a little bit of home. But I'm really grateful that my dad was living in the Bronx because I can't imagine anywhere else as my home after being here so long. So, yeah.
What is it that you like of the Bronx?
I think in terms of the things that I like the most about the Bronx, it took me a while to figure it out because it takes a while as an immigrant for you to find your place in a new environment, in a new society, one that doesn't look like you or look like where you came from. It takes a while. It takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of asking whether or not you belong as well. So it took me some time, but eventually I found places where I could be a part of the Bronx and not just live here. I can be here. And I think that's what I really love about it, that I was able to find organizations and groups and friends and local spots and activities and events to develop a relationship with these people and places and things that really made it home. I grew up in a place. Guyana, it's a small country, but it's also diverse. It prides itself on being the land of many races, only though there are about 6 nationalities that are sort of like native to Guyana, but it defines itself as a land of many races. So growing up in Guyana, I'm Muslim, but I also participated in a lot of the cultural celebrations of my Hindu friends and my Christian friends. So we would play Pagua, which is the festival of spring, and we would get drenched in all the colors and all of that, and then go, I would always beg my mom to go to mass with my friends around the Christmas holidays, and of course you would participate in the festivities of Christmas. And then coming here, right, New York, it's on a much grander scale. It's a far more diverse environment than Guyana, but I felt like, I had that exposure and had an understanding of diversity and an acceptance of it, and a fascination by it. So New York and the Bronx, I think, wasn't much of a difference for me. So it's really, really great in my opinion. And I think it's one of the things that also contributes to the sense of joy that I feel about living here and how lucky I feel about living in New York City and the Bronx, is to be around all these different cultures, all these different types of foods, different ways of being, different ways of seeing the world, engaging with the world, questioning the world that we've created. So that's, I think, what diversity is to me. Just being in that environment where you're not stagnant. It's always interesting. There's also something new, something different, something that's outside the realm of what you've thought about before to consider. So I really love that about life in New York City and the Bronx specifically.
What difficulties you think you encounter, if you encounter, for being a woman?
Oh,
That's not good. Or maybe not.
Wow. Wow. I think I don't even know where to start with that question. It's sorry, it's like
Think
I
about
feel like I need to
it.
take a moment. Again, I think going back, and I keep going back to my childhood because a lot of the things that I had to overcome in terms of what it is to be a woman came with me from Guyana. And, you know, I brought them here with me. I arrived in New York City with those challenges, with those norms, with those expectations. And I think what I did in the Bronx was a lot of work to overcome. And I think as a woman, that kind of really defines her. It's one of the fundamental aspects of being a woman is overcoming. And I still think that I'm doing that. There's still things that I'm working on. In many ways, I'm still trying to find my voice. Being here today is about putting my voice out. It's about being courageous. It's about overcoming, right? I didn't say yes right away to being here today because it's about, do I really want to do this? Because it takes courage. It takes courage to speak. It takes courage to show up, especially in a world that is more often than not trying to silence you. And I think for me, it took me a long time, as I said earlier, to really feel that I belonged here because I was overcoming, because I was trying to move away from the conditioning of what it is to be a little brown girl, a little Muslim brown girl in New York City, wanting to be respectful of my parents and our traditions, but also wanting to be a part of this new environment that I'd all of a sudden entered into that was so different than anything that I was, around for 18 years of my life. I grew up in Guyana. So it was a lot. And I think every day I'm striving to do a little bit more to be the woman that I want to be. And it's a lot of work.
And last question, it will be, what advice would you give to other women, especially to the next generations coming?
You guys are asking a lot of tough questions. I have a little 8-year-old niece, and when I see her, I see so many possibilities for her. But more than anything, I think it gives me a sense of joy to look at her and to watch her discover things about the world and things about herself and what she can do. And more than anything, I think the thing that I want her to know is that she can do anything that she wants. Anything. And that, I think, is the message that I would want any young woman or anyone even my age, older, to know, is that irrespective of where you are in your life, you can do anything you want. And you should try. It's not always easy. I know that. But I also know what it is to try, and I know what it is to be a representative of your community. And I think that is something that we should all strive for. I hope that we would all strive for that.